All right, Jason. So the
Yes.
rules in pro sports COVID protocols continue to evolve. ESPN's Adrian Woj obtained a memo from the NBA stating that NBA players who are not vaccinated against COVID-19 will no longer be allowed to play in Toronto as of January 15th. Now, we should mention that this is unlikely to have a huge effect on the NBA, now that 97% of the league is vaccinated, but what do we think of this growing trend of legal precedent in cities and countries around COVID, and whether it could create competitive edges in the future or not?
Well, I guess it depends on who's, on who's remains in that 3% unvaccinated. Obviously, like if the Raptors are playing the Nets in a crucial playoff, matchup, that would benefit them. But I think more broadly, it's hard to get my mind around it, but it's just a reality that this is our life now. This is like what the world is now. It's so insane to think about, because like when we've been talking, we offline about like stuff we watch on TV, etc. You watch TV and like shows that you watch have not even begun to grapple with the fact that this pandemic has happened. Like it's just basically an escape. But we live in a world in which stuff like this is going to be the reality from now on. You mentioned it. Canada's Minister of Public Health, Marco Mendicino, announced the ban on unvaccinated professional and amateur athletes in November. These kind of rules on the local, state, federal, and international level are going to be with us for a while. And it's just, man, honestly, when I think about how much our lives have changed in the last 2 years and the things that we have to deal with now, it's just truly wild, man. If I could go back in time and tell myself the stuff that we would be like dealing with right now, just
you
like
would
3
not
years
believe
ago,
it.
you would not believe it. But this is our reality now. Like the Omicron variant is here. Delta is still dominant. There's expectation that more variants will emerge. You've got hotspots in New Mexico, in various other parts of the country, as well as internationally. So this is just what we're gonna have to deal with, man. It's truly crazy. It's truly wild. You've traveled a lot more than I have. What's it like out there when you move around? Like, what is it like going from place to place?
It's interesting because I do travel around a lot. I feel like I'm not outside and outside all at once because I have to travel. But whenever I get to my destination, I kind of stay to myself, go on set, kind of move back. But to your point, it is so different. Even in the NBA, a lot of the jobs that I have involve sports. And if you just look at teams like the Chicago Bulls, I mean, they got hit hard with health and safety protocol. There's other teams. We know that, the Bucks got hit, the Hornets got hit. Teams are getting hit. And when I say getting hit, multiple players at a time, are in the health and safety protocols. I think I ask people this all the time, but are we living in a new normal? Because I think that people don't really equate this to the new normal. It's everybody's kind of looking towards when COVID is over, when the pandemic is over. The pandemic, I think that we have passed like the peaking point of people passing away and dying from it. But however, I think that this is a new normal we're living in. I had to get a booster shot for one of my jobs. It wasn't an option. It was mandatory to be around certain people. So I think this new normal is what people haven't really grasped with. People understand that it's here. They understand that, certain things are a norm for now. I don't know if people understand that, 2022 might still look a lot like this 2021 reality we're living in.
The vaccine card is a great example. The, made infamous by Antonio Brown and others. But like, just the fact that it shows kind of like how improvised and how changing this situation really still is. Because it's like when you got that card, I had no expectation that it was like, oh, I got to hold on to this card forever. Like, I need this. I need to show this now at every other place I go to. This little like 1 inch by 1 inch cardboard card. Like, should I get this laminated? Like, mine is like beat up. Do I like the fact that I have to take it with me? There was no expectation that would be a major piece of identification that you would need to have just to go anywhere now. And that is just a part of our life now. That's a part of our life that nobody expected when it first appeared, but that has just become part of the landscape. And it's truly wild. Like, I think even as we're living in this, we're not going to really truly understand like the effects that all this is having on us for years to come.
Like, we're a part of history right now. When people go back like 100 years from now, we will be the group that lives through COVID-19 and how our worlds got changed. And even think about how things have changed dramatically from even just the beginning of this season, where Kyrie Irving was a big topic about, not getting the vaccine and different things of that nature. And since then, we've had Aaron Rodgers scenario and Antonio Brown scenario. Yes. It has ever evolved in athletes dealing with COVID. It's just, we don't even know what's next. We don't even know what to expect, because this situation, like the rules, are changing as we go.
Yeah, there's just like a level of risk now that I'm boosted as well, that you just have to factor into everything that you do when you go out or you're around people. You just have to kind of like look at the situation and go, well, I hope this is safe enough. It's wild, man. To your point, when they make a documentary about this in 10, 15, 20 years, we are the people that this generation is going to be the people that they talk to talk about what was that like? What was that like to go through that? And we have no idea what those effects are going to be even now.
And Jason, to that point, the WNBA, when I was playing, a lot of a player's money came from the international space of, I go to Europe and I play and I could easily make double the amount to triple the amount of money that I made in the WNBA. So when you start to think about traveling and different areas that it's spiking in, and also just countries being like, you can't come here. Like, we want to keep it locked down. It's going to be interesting in the WNBA space, but also to that same point, with the emergence of name, image, and likeness, there's a lot more WNBA players. Like, when I was playing, it would be like, and this is not a real fact, but it would be like 90% of the league would go play overseas because it was just the normal thing that we did. Now it's not like that. Players are like, I'm good on overseas. Like, a lot of the young players that are high picks, they don't even they choose whether or not they want to go overseas because name, image, and likeness. So I'm curious to see just how the effect of COVID will have on leagues overseas, players going overseas to play, and even not just women, but there's a large amount of college athletes that are your favorite college athlete on the men's side that they don't make the NBA. Where are they now? They're overseas playing. You may not hear about them all the time, but they're overseas playing. So I'm really, really curious how that market will be affected now with COVID.
Renee, this weekend is set to be possibly one of the oddest in a recent history of odd celebrity boxing matches we've seen thus far, in the Jake Logan Paul boxing verse. Former All-Star point guard Deron Williams is fighting former All-Pro running back Frank Gore on the undercard of Paul versus Woodley this weekend. Williams started as a large favorite because of his long history with fighting sports and the fact that he owns fighting gyms. But the odds have slimmed out over the past month. Instead of breaking down the fight, what do we think about this clearly popular version of celebrity boxing with former pro athletes? And who do we think might get in the ring next in 2022? What do you think about it? Deron Williams and Frank Gore.
Listen, unpopular opinion, maybe, but I love this celebrity boxing stuff. I'm sorry. I love it. Like, again, I'm not into the technicalities of boxing. 10 jabs, 20 jabs. Like, I just want to be entertained when I sit down. I want to see a lot of punches fly. I want to be entertained. I want to see people get knocked out. And it actually really helps that I know the people. So I know these guys. Like, I know them. And so imagine seeing them play basketball or seeing him play football and a Frank Gore and then watching them box. Like, to me, that adds extra entertainment. So I really like this emergence of celebrity boxing all the way around. It gives me celebrity deathmatch vibes that we used to watch back in the day. And it's like happening in real life. Those used to be like little clay objects fighting each other on TV. But now we watch it live in real people that we may see. So now it's always like we see this matchup, but who else do we want to see battle it out? Like, who would you want to see get into the ring, go head to head?
Wow, great question.
Like, I want to see journalists. Like, let's start seeing some journalists, okay? Journalists, put your dukes up.
let me just say before answering that, number one, I have no interest in fighting anybody. I don't ever want to fight nobody. I am a coward. First of all, let me just say this Deron Williams matchup, man, I'd be afraid to go against a guy like Deron Williams who won. This is a guy who clearly wants to beat somebody's ass. Again,
what's all the smoke?
He has been talking for years that about competing in MMA style competitions. He's been training in BJJ in various striking styles. He owns gyms again. And he's economically set. So this is a guy who's doing this because he really, really likes it.
Scary.
And you know, you know what I mean? And another way, and it's one of those things where, you know, like if you get, when you're training, you want to put this stuff to use. And man, he clearly wants to put it to use. So I know the odds have slimmed, but if I'm Frank Gore, I'd be concerned. And if I'm a fan of Frank Gore, I'd be concerned because, again, Deron Williams, he's been training for this for a long time, and he very clearly is very passionate about it because he don't need it. He don't need the money.
That's what I was going to say, because who would I like to see, just to elaborate on the reason that I said journalists, because I think it would be a very interesting concept if like journalists had to go perform like an athlete performs, and then they have to report on what they did in the fight. So I would want them to go Woj versus Shams. All right. So y'all go head to head. Y'all go head to head, and then y'all report back to us what happened, because I think that it would be an interesting concept for journalists to have to be in that hot seat to be critiqued and then have to write about it. I think it would be, you know, I don't know. I would just like to see.
They should break news between rounds.
Oh,
Woj tweets, sources tell me Woj intends to attempt to submit Shams in the second round. Shams Charania on Twitter says, sources tell me that Shams feels great and his left hook is working exactly the way he wants it to.
Give it to us. Or then do role reversal where the athletes now are reporting on them. I think that there's something to be said about people switching roles. It's enlightening. We watch it with, what is it called, where wife swap, you get a little taste of something new. You know, it's enlightening to see what things are like on the other side. But just in all honesty, though, I really do like it. First of all, athletes love competition. I'm not one of those athletes.
They love it.
I'm not one of those athletes that will get in there to fight, but athletes love competition. I will go crazy on a spades game, card game, any game you put in front of me. I'm way too competitive to just play casually, so I don't. But boxing is something where if an athlete, a lot of athletes actually suffer from, like, when they don't play anymore, they don't feel validated. They go through a little level of depression. Imagine if now they have a big event that they can get up for, the Showtime like event or the celebrity boxing event that they can get excited for, have something that they're working towards. I honestly think that there's an avenue for that for retired athletes, because at the end of the day, athletes love to perform, athletes love to compete, and it's a way they can stay in shape. I'm saying I'm here for it. I'm sorry. I'm here for all of it.
Is that something you dealt with? Like when you of course, recently retired, but like, you know, I think you're right. Having been around athletes, y'all are just fiends for any kind of competition.
Facts.
There is no just chill, like have it, you know, chill game of Mario Kart. Like it's to the death always. Yeah. Did you go through that as well when you're just like, I got to find something, I got to find a way to compete?
You know, I am way more busy than I am when I actually played. So my life is a little bit different. I hit the ground running when I opted out of the WNBA. Then I started doing stuff, boots on the ground. And then it just developed into so many more different things that I never thankfully had that period. I was able to kind of move and transition from one career right to the next. But some people have a grace period where they're sitting at home. They have to figure out, because in sports, you usually only given like a couple amount of options. Do you want to coach? Do you want to be an athletic director? Do you want to do do you want to be a broadcaster? Well, that ain't for everybody. Everybody doesn't have the patience to coach or the IQ to coach. Everybody can't go on camera. No matter if you played 20 years, doesn't mean you can go on camera and talk about it. Those things aren't for everybody. So what about the other athletes that are physically still strong, but maybe just can't compete at the highest level? So I think that there's a real thing happening here that could be a great lane for people to still, and you know, athletes love the limelight. So that's a way that, you get to line up. Everybody comes to, we saw American Gangster boxing events bring together all the cultures. It ain't just some sports. It brings in the entertainers, the athletes, and even the criminals if we have to, because it's a big money event. So I don't know. I think there's something here post athletic career for athletes getting to these celebrity boxing training, all of that. Something's there.
Now, to your point about journalists, here's a fight that's brewing. Dana White versus the sports business analyst Darren Rovell. Darren has been around for a while. He's kind of an infamous personality, quite an abrasive guy. Dana White, of course, is Dana White. This is the epitome of a let them fight kind of spat. Anyway, their feud goes back several years, back to 2016 when Rovell criticized White for pushing Ronda Rousey into a fight after theoretically she was not ready to really fight. She'd been away for a year. So in this most recent iteration of the rivalry, after Juliana Pena upset Amanda Nunes with a rear naked choke at UFC 269, White took a dig at Rovell for his comments on the UFC's business practices, saying, basically calling Rovell a dipshit and told him to stay out of our business. Rovell then responded, quote, Dana is really great at taking shots at 1 a.m. He might have the potty mouth this forum applauds, but I'll debate him in any forum on this topic and with data and crush him. Name the time and the place. I'll name the time and place. Las Vegas. Woo! At 10 p.m. on pay-per-view. Let's see it. And listen, I think
you ready?
I think Darren Rovell, I think it would be a very short fight for Darren Rovell, but let's get it. Let's get it! Takeline is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Warriors at Celtics, folks. Steph Curry heads to TD Garden on Friday. Will Steph break the 3-point record by then or during that game? He'll surely do it this week. Will Marcus Smart go 1 for 50? Will Jason Tatum throw his angriest, hardest, finger-breaking pass yet? I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know that if you play fantasy sports on NBA, NFL, MLB, Underdog Fantasy is the best and easiest way to play fantasy sports. One of the best ways to do that is their Pick'em game. Just pick over or under on your favorite or least favorite player stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. Sign up now with the code TAKELINE, and you'll double your first deposit up to $100 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit of $10 or more. Deposit $100, get another $100 free. So what are you waiting for? Sign up with code TAKELINE, get your deposit match, and draft your NBA Dream Team today. My mom's firstborn son, Tiger Woods, will make his 2021 debut in the last event of the year, 10 months after a single car crash in which he sustained multiple leg injuries. Woods announced that he will play in this weekend's parent-child PNC Championship with his son, Charlie. So it's time we are joined by number one official Takeline correspondent on golf, my mom. Also number one Tiger Woods fan in the world. She joined me via cellular phone to talk about Woods' return, talk about his son Charlie, and what type of book she likes to read, because I caught her at Barnes and Noble's in the midst of shopping for more books.
Let's go, Mama Concepcion!
Hi, Mom.
Hello?
Hi. What's going on?
I just saw at Barnes and Noble.
What are you getting?
Sorry. I don't know.
You don't know what you're going to buy? What have you been reading lately?
I just finished some Patterson book. I finished it 2 weeks ago. So I want to buy another one. I finished like 2 books by Patricia and then Patterson. And then I want to buy that. What is it? I forgot what it is. I'll see. Lincoln something. About trumpet.
So obviously you've seen a big reader like myself. This is probably where I get it from, reading all the books. You have piles and piles of books at home. I'm sure you've seen the news that Tiger Woods is coming back. What are your thoughts?
Yes. He's not really coming back on a PGA tour. Okay. He's coming back to I think to do it mainly for his son. He's grooming Charlie, and he's coming back not of the PGA Tour. It's a like you said, a giggle and pat, game. It's straight. It's not a hilly course, and he can ride a cart, golf cart. So why not?
What do you expect?
You know what I mean?
I guess so. As you mentioned, he's playing with his son Charlie. Do you expect, though, like, if Tiger looks okay, do you think we'll see more of him? Or is this it? It's just going to be Tiger is now just what he cares about is just...
I think like he said, he's going to play, like, limited schedule. He's already in a limited schedule, you know that. He never really played full. He played, like, 12, 10, 9. So I think he's going to play, like he said, like Ben Hogan, the majors. That's it. He's just going to prepare for the 4 majors. That's it. I think majors are important for him anyway, even before his accident. So I think that's what he's going to do. And if he doesn't, he doesn't have anything to prove. He's a legend. But I think he's doing it like you. Listen, the more he appears, the more money comes out, and his co-golfer knows that. He changed the game by himself.
Yeah. What are you going to look for when you watch him? Like, what are the things you're going to watch when he appears to see if he, just to see if he looks okay?
His right leg, you can see in the picture when he was practicing, he's not using his golf shoe on the right leg.
Mm.
Yeah, and they said now with the technology, they can make him a special shoe. So his right leg won't bother him. But you can see still he's having a problem, with his back and leg. But, wow. After 9 months, he can play. My goodness sake. You know what I mean? So, but I think he's doing it mainly for his son. That's it. Doesn't want to miss Charlie, not playing that kind of competition with father and son. So he did it. So I'm glad he did it.
Do you think he's going to have the same kind of like club speed that he used to have in the swing?
No, he's not going to be the same. It's going to take him a while to have that speed. You know what I mean? But look, before he was the longest, right? Before all of this, they changed the golf course because of him. But with the technology, like recently last year when I borrowed the new driver, you don't have to swing so hard.
Yeah.
With the technology, they just go, boom. You know what I mean? So with all this technology, and he has direct access to it, they can change it. But I think he won't do with his back, with his leg. It's not going to be the same. You know what I mean? That's why he's going to pick and choose his PGA Tour. And I think it will take at least 2-3 years, I think, before he can join the PGA. But he's not going to lose his card. His lifetime,
Well, Mom, congratulations on your firstborn son coming back into the life of golf, coming back into your life. Otherwise, how are you?
I am fine. I have a good news.
Wait, hold on. Let me stop the. Well, let me stop it. Let me stop the thing. Hold on. Bye, Mom. That was my mom. Thanks to her for allowing me to bother her in the middle of shopping for yet more books.
I love having Mama Concepcion on. Welcome back anytime.